they can fit into this equation
Oh, yeah.
and be part of the
Sometimes
solution.
they be knowing what to actually people do.
You know, and one issue I want to take up that you can let people know is why they're closing that bathroom right there in the park.
Guess what?
The bathroom in the park right there on Maryland is closed down again.
Wow.
And you know, that's a major issue. You know, for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, but local things like that are things we need to address, not just ignore, you know.
Okay, let me get it. Today go kind.
Yeah.
Okay, little one.
It's lunchtime and nap time at the same time.
Have a good one, Rick.
Okay, sir. What's the way to tell them again?
Actually, I do not even use a number.
No?
I use an email.
Oh, okay.
And the main reason, one of the main reasons, because I just want people to do.
Okay.
A lot of times there's a lot of talk, and you might misunderstand because you just hit them real fast. But to come down and engage, if it's really about solving things, that's what we do.
Good afternoon, Las Vegas. This is Clark with the Herd coming to you from live from Las
Are
Vegas,
you leaving?
Nevada.
Yes, sir. I was gonna go.
Welcome to the show.
That's okay. I get it,
We
man.
have a lot of stuff to talk about today.
I'll be back.
The national, we call it the National Convention's just getting ready to fly off, I guess, starting Monday. So we'll be tuned into that, see what's happening.
I think you
I got it up to someplace.
Have to do this, but
And today,
your show is pretty good.
appreciate it.
I'm live now. You gonna join the show?
Are you live?
Yes. All right, move over here if you want.
Back, don't go anywhere.
Anyways, this is the Herd. The Herd itself, we had a discussion the other day, it's kind of a play on words. We call it the HEARD for people that hear with us with the ears. And then what we really become is once we're heard, we become a whole organization of people that have been heard. And we keep track of what you want to do, what your possible solutions are and whatnot. We keep track of what the number one solution is, and number two, we keep records. And that's the way we get some clout, and that's the way we propose to various people in power, what have you, whatever you want to call them. These are our ideas, this is the solutions. We are the people of this country. This country was founded for us, and God damn it, we're gonna be heard. Because we haven't been here, we haven't been heard. We haven't even been listened to. We have now morphed into a country that has an elite. The people that we elect to office to do our job for us has turned into the elite. And we're just the smurfs of this little society here. The people we elect, like these Hillary Clinton and so forth, are the queen of the country now. She's the ultra elite. She's the master of all before her. She's a piece of crap. Okay, she's not qualified to be a dog catcher, in my opinion. But I'm getting a little off script here, anyways.
But that's okay, if I could.
Anyways, with us today is Warren Williams. He's the world's peace promoter and advocate. He's joining us today. He's in the process of starting his own show. It'll be kicking off next week. I think it'll be a 3-hour show, perhaps every day, Monday through Friday. Proposal right now is about 7 in the evening till 10 o'clock at night, so maybe more people won't be working and so forth and could participate in the show and give us their input and what their solutions are and so forth. So welcome, Warren. Tell us what you want us to know.
Thank you, Clark. First, I want to just make a statement on what you just referring to about the politicians, elected officials. Because you're very right. They treat it like celebrities, and they're not celebrities. They get famous, they get names, they become popular, but by law, they're public servants. And they're
Yeah, 200 years ago.
Well, but the
That was a theory.
The real job description does not change. The real purpose of being there, the real purpose of government is to serve the people.
Wow.
Therefore, the real purpose of a public servant is to serve the people. And when the people are not being heard, and since we have what is identified as a representative democracy, then the direct democracy is not unfolding. So your show provides opportunity to individuals like myself to articulate our concerns and share solutions to overcome these problems that so many of us are experiencing.
Well, that was our idea here. There's a lot of shows all over the world, I guess now, that talk about the problems, day in and day out, problems. Well, there's a lot of problems, and we know those problems, I mean, pretty much. But what are the solutions? That's where you get into these debates, where you have the progressive movement. Their solution is they want more bodies in this country. The dumber, the better, to be honest with you, and the more dependent, the better. We used to be a country where anyone was welcome if they met a certain standard. They had money themselves, they had income, they had ideas, they could promote things, they could be successful in their own right, they could be a producer instead of a taker. Now we've turned into a country where the progressives particularly just want bodies, they want the head count. So when the census goes around and counts heads in California, you get a lopsided view of how many people are living in California, but maybe 60% are illegal aliens. But they don't give a crap as long as they're counted and as long as they equate to electoral votes. That's all they're after. They're all after votes. And that secures their power, and that's all they're after. And their power is for them so they can make money, like the Clinton Crime Foundation. If there was ever an illegal enterprise, that's it. They're off raising money from our enemies, millions and millions of dollars, sticking it into their slush fund so Hillary and Bill can fly around on private jets and pay their daughter $1 million a year to administer something, I don't know what, counting money, I guess. And this is what we've turned into. We've turned into a country where we don't have a voice anymore. We still can elect people. That's our only power that we kind of have left. And they're trying to usurp that from us with voting machines and other tricks and gerrymandering and changing the Democrats here and Democrats there. We're gonna, wherever we're losing, we're gonna change that out and get rid of the other side. We're gonna put in more of our people, more illegal aliens. We're gonna bust people in. Whatever we can do, they're all about tricks. They're not about creating an environment where the productive people can have success. They don't even know what you're talking about.
And what I hear you saying is defining what you identify to be a definite problem. Again, restating what you said earlier, this is about solutions. We're about solutions. People are tired of not having the solutions in place. The people are part of the problem. We must be unified and united. There must be a priority that we have. And that priority that we all need is peace. Peace is a formula. So for us to achieve to overcome the problems we're complaining about, the people need to be unified in what we really need. So if we prioritize that what we are asking for and demanding is peace, and peace being universal justice, fairness, quality living for all, then that creates a political agenda. It is the platform of the people, of what they're expecting reasonably from elected officials who say they're representing the people. We could forever complain about what politicians are not doing right. But we, the people, must organize in a way to steer them correctly. Again, if they're not celebrities, no matter what they call themselves or other people call them, what the media play them out to be. If the politicians are not celebrities, and they are, by true job description, public servants, then they are to serve the public. So how do they serve a public who don't know what their agenda is? So if the people are divided and we don't all share the same vision, the same focus, then we actually empower those who are not for the right things to manipulate all of us into the wrong things.
And that's always been one of their key platform way that they handle is to conquer and divide. Divide and conquer, the old saying. So they want division, they want to separate people out, and the smart people, they don't want anything to do with them, not the progressives. They want the low information people that are dependent upon Santa Claus so they can get their free this, their free that, and free everything else. And that's the way that they establish their base, and that's the way they attempt to stay in power. So the solution is, one of the solutions on my show that I've already recorded with significant amount of followers, is that to eliminate the parties. Now that sounds like, oh, okay, but what has the party ever done for anybody? It hasn't done anything for me. I don't know, everyone I've asked a question of it, I've asked a lot of people, nobody can give me an answer of what the political party does for the individual voter of this country. We the people, there's no answer.
I can give you an answer of how I take that. I see a political party as a kind of like a TV station or advertisement firm. They're promoting a product. The product here happens to be people. So they promote candidates or they promote agendas. If they were properly doing that function, it would be a good thing. If they were not doing it in a biased way, blindly favoring the candidate for under the table advantages or whatever, self-gain, self-profit, self-empowerment. So if again, these parties were actually serving the people by introducing us to candidates, showing us the qualifications of candidates, explaining to us different agenda items that we are to vote on, and clarifying those issues to us, then the parties will be serving a good function. Unfortunately, I don't see the parties doing that. So therefore, your suggestion of not having parties would seem like a practical solution to the contemporary problem that we have dealing with parties.
Well, over time, every human person has a tendency to become corrupt in a way. If they're in a position of power, absolutely, then they're going to become corrupted absolutely. So that's a natural progression of anybody that thinks they have something to say about something. They're going to be subject to taking that holy dollar in an envelope or however they get it, because they're going to have a tremendous influence on them day in and day out to become corrupted. They're going to have temptation after temptation after temptation.
I really have a problem with that one.
Okay.
I think that there lies one of the major problems that we have, a psychological problem, that masses are duped to believe we're all born flawed, that we are all have that corruptible part of us, that none of us can do the right thing, that all of us would yield if given the opportunity to get rich and abandon the mission of really helping people. We would quickly surrender the good cause for our own personal gain. I do not believe that. And I think that history supports me here. I think history would tell us and show us, reveal to us, that many, many people have died standing up for just causes. Many young people have given their lives fighting for what they believe was freedom and justice and liberty, the good for other people. There have been heroes etched in stone from long ages ago, ancient times. So good people have been, and these people have not yielded and have not compromised or surrendered their integrity. I also experience when I go here and there, and am convinced there's more good people than bad people. I think if there truly were more bad people than good people, that we could not walk the streets. We couldn't have a Las Vegas. People could not be just out there entertaining, just walking to casinos or going to buffets and enjoying any form of life, because all of us would be a threat to each other. Everyone would have to live in a form of fear that every home would have to be a fortress. But we do not live that way. We do live in
that way. We're getting that way a heck of a lot more than we were, say, 40 or 50 years ago. People didn't even lock their houses. So there's been a dramatic change. My point was everything morphs as time goes by. these overpowering tendencies that every human has. Some do, some don't. Others have more than the others, but there's a tendency that if you are in power, you're going to morph into being bought and paid for by special interests. That's the bottom line. There's a tendency out there. And then what happens is, when you get enough power, you fight and fight and fight and cheat and lie and do everything you can to stay in power. And the more power you have, like a Harry Reid, the longer you've been in office, 36 years, you can't get rid of the guy. You'll never get rid of him.
My concern in listening to you, Clark, is that if the mass of people embrace that belief, then there is no answer.
No, the answer is be aware of
If
it.
every individual out there cannot be trusted, and that's why the
I'm not
check
saying-
and
I never
balance
said
system was
that.
created in the system.
But that's
Because
been,
the plantation owners didn't trust each other.
Right.
So if we convince ourselves that there's no one out there who's worthy to be in office, who would do it right, who would not sell us out, then we should do more than just get rid of political parties. We would have to dump government. We just have to say government doesn't work, because anyone that is given any degree of power is going to be a corrupt individual
Right.
and not will that power.
and we have to
forever.
be aware of that, and we have to demand term limits. We have to
Term limits
demand,
would not solve that problem. Are you hearing what you're saying?
it sure
If
would
we're
help.
saying that everyone, no one can be trusted, everyone
I
would
didn't say
sell
that,
out.
you're misunderstanding. I never said everybody. I said there's a problem, and it's a problem of maybe a few that have been corrupted. And that
Okay,
corruption
now
is
at
like
least
a
we're getting
cancer
to a few.
that spreads. I never said all. I'm saying the problem is the massive, there's 300 and something million people in this country. And the problem is probably associated with 500 of the people out of 300 million. 500 people. And they're Congress, the Senate, and there are elected officials that have been bought and paid for. And now they represent our interests supposedly all over the world. These people, these dishwashers is what their qualification to be. All over the world they have power. And they don't know what they're doing. They're idiots. We're talking about 500 or 600 complete morons are running this country.
Someone said to me years ago, government was created by genius, but it was ran by fools.
That's pretty accurate. That's
And-
becoming more accurate every day.
That statement is a very powerful statement, and I actually divide it differently. I say that government itself is genius. So those that be responsible to government will be responsible individuals. But then there's politics. And
Well,
I
there's
think
the
politics
cancer.
is what you're talking about.
Yes, exactly. That's
That
what
what
political
happens-
parties are.
And I think it's not necessarily that a good person, because that all good people are, a lot of good people become corrupt. I think what happens is we're born into a world where there is sin, where there is wrong, injustice, unfairness, bias. We're born, a person go into office into a system that is corrupt.
And you
that
better be
is
part of the
unfair.
system or they're gonna get rid of you.
Well, then there comes the big word, political compromise. That in order to get something, to achieve something while they're in office, they feel they have to go along with something that's wrong for them to do something that's right. And
I think it's worse than that. I think the powers to be that are entrenched tell the new members, you're gonna do it this way, or you're not gonna get a goddamn thing done while you're here. And you're gonna do it our way, or it's the highway, buddy.
why can't,
Take Joe Lieberman, a
why,
long-term senator out of Connecticut, that started to have a little more conservative leanings, if you will, started to even be referred to as a possible vice presidential candidate on a Republican ticket, and that's all the Democrats needed to say. Now, he was gratis, not welcome anymore, so they ran a candidate against him in the nomination process for re-election. They put up money and hundreds of, whatever they put up, and he lost the primary as a Democrat. So what did he do? He switched to an independent and won. So what a black eye for the Democrats there. But that's what they do. That's all they know how to do.
so what
They're
I hear
corrupt.
there is that a business strategy that's often used is both orientation and, they put on probation. So if every candidate went in office and make all these promises, what they will do, which have probation period. So within 6 months or 3 months, they have to demonstrate that they're moving in alignment with the time schedule, duration
Now,
time they're
that's
in
a
office.
solution we need to keep track of.
Yes,
See, that's the kind of ideas that I'm trying to promote, and I think that's what you're trying to.
absolutely.
Solutions, and that's a good one.
Solutions in
And
progress.
that goes to like term limits, or even, not even that far, it's like staying
not
in
term
office,
limits.
not
Because
even
what-
getting to the end of your term, if you're not doing
Right,
what
the
you.
probation says,
See you
hey,
later.
if you get 6 months, 3 months down the road, and we see that you're absolutely not going the direction that you made your promises
Or
on
you
the
sign,
platform,
you're
you
in
are
a
out.
no tax increase platform, and right away you're in there for 2 months and you're signing off on the largest tax increase in history.
Yeah.
Your key should not work in your office Monday morning.
Absolutely,
And
that's it.
that's one of the
That's
solutions.
what an employer would do, they would dismiss the
Now, if we
employee.
had the
from
herd
the-
and a big enough following with your solutions and so forth, let's say we had 100,000 people. Okay, that's reasonable, I think it could be done. How many people belonged to the Tea Party when that thing came out of nowhere? There were thousands of people all over the country, and it was a movement, because these weren't your usual people that get off the couch and go out and do something. They were the real silent majority, I think, of the people of this country who had got fed up with the way that they're being corrupted and so forth. They're fed up with it. So they started speaking up. But they called themselves a party. Going back to my original thought, that's a bad word. We have to get rid of that. And especially when it's associated with political party. Politics is the cancer of our society.
You also said earlier about how they divide and conquer. So there's another word that's worse than party to me, and it's used a lot. Majority and minority. We're Americans. And why I understand the movement.
Well, yeah, you're right. The word itself's divisive.
The word divisive, and
Yeah.
also the Constitution states that there are to be no titles of nobility. But
Yeah, like what makes
actually,
you
majority is used and applied as a title of nobility. If you're the majority, you get special privileges, you are an elitist, there are certain advantages of being a majority. But if you're a minority, you're already
okay, let's say, what is a true, like, voting type majority? What is the classification of that majority? Majority of what? What are you a majority of? Americans, well, what,
If I were to
there shouldn't
answer
be
that
any
as
majority.
an
Every
African
American.
American, if I were to answer that, notice how I respond. As an African American, labeled as a so-called minority.
That's
So,
a subdivision.
Only
That's divided.
because I'm African American, am I automatically tossed into this stigma of being labeled as a minority. So why can't I, as an African American, be part of the majority?
Yeah, that's my point. What is the definition?
So what the
What
majority
is it?
is white America. That's what it is.
When you term things in
Particularly
the
white
respects of
American
color,
males.
if there's more white color in America, then that as a color issue, there are more whites than blacks. So I guess you would have to classify.
And there
that they're
again
in
is
the
the
majority.
problem.
But
The
the majority
problem
of
is
what?
that
All
there
you
are
are
not.
is you're the majority of the color. But other than that, majority of what?
And
It
again,
doesn't make you any more American or less American. You're all Americans.
To say that white America is the majority of America
Yeah, you're right. That's a
is
very.
absolutely flawed
Oh,
because
absolutely.
we either are all Americans, and
Right.
according to law, if you're native born in this country, you are a full American citizen. So therefore, how do I earn or get dumped on me this label of being a minority when we are all the majority if we are all Native Americans? And these are the beginning of how they divide and conquer us. Because a lot of times we don't think about it. You touched on something earlier about if we had 100,000 people. Actually, I'm convinced that we have America on our side.
Well, I think this election cycle is proving where the success has been from outsiders. So they're tired of the insiders.
America is tired of it. They understand the
Yeah,
problem.
absolutely.
The challenge of the average individual, since there is a majority or minority in actuality, we're all Americans, The challenge is, how do we overcome the sense of there's nothing we can do about it? That the power elitist group, whoever they are, do whatever they want to do, so we're left with it. We don't decide who really runs for office. They give us some candidates and say, now, like it or not, you got to pick and choose
And
who you're going to vote for.
if we lose our power, which is the right to vote, the status quo is gonna run everything, and we've lost the country. We have nowhere to go. There are no solutions if we allow this to go on. So we have to stop it, and we have to restore ourselves back to the foundation principles of law and order. And if there's a law in the book, we have to follow it. Maybe there's something wrong with the law. Okay, we'll look at that someday, and maybe we'll change it.
And
But in
I've
the
also,
meantime, the law is the law, and God damn it, we're gonna uphold it. And you can throw the immigration thing into that mix. If you come into this country illegally, you've broken the law. And I'm so sorry, you may be a productive citizen, you may have been here for a while, this, that, or other thing, but you didn't get here legally, and a lot of other people did, and they got a chip on their shoulder that you get in easier than they got in.
and that said, we have to also be certain that naturalizing of new citizens is done fairly.
Well, of
Because
course, and
from some research that I did, more whites are naturalized through the process than any other group every year. So again, why is that? Why would there automatically always be more whites getting naturalized, and no one complains about that? No one's saying that, hey, that's unfair. That's not the way it should be.
because how do you complain? You go to the people that have been elected into the system, and that's never gonna work. You go into the foxes that guard the hens, we're the hens, you're going to a fox to correct something that the foxes are doing. It's never gonna work. You go to a fox. The hens have to make the foxes pay attention.
Another thing too, and it gets compounded, and one of the challenges that we're always confronted in being with a radio show and a TV show and communicating to a lot of people is that these compounded problems are all knitted together. So we have to back off sometimes and realize that if we get too involved with all the branches, we would never see the tree. In this instance, we're about solutions. And we want people to engage with solutions in progress, make changes that will improve the quality of living for everyone, to help resolve the conflicts that we have, to help stop senseless killings. Again, I want to bounce back to that probation thing just quickly. Getting that implemented, eliminating titles of nobility, which they don't want to call it that, but that's the way I define it to be, and just say, we can no longer use titles like that. There is no majority anymore. We're all Americans. And again, with your parties, eliminating the parties. These are real solutions that will end up putting everybody on equal start. It would, it's a method of ensuring that funds raised from the public is properly appropriately distributed fairly to have a standard of quality living for everyone. Not the type of government that says, no, we are control of, therefore we're gonna look out for our communities. And we're gonna make sure that my buddies and friends are the ones that benefit the most. And those that are in my corner support my type of agenda.
Right away, again, you go bounce right off to corruption. Because if you're protecting this interest over that interest, that's corruption.
It is
Maybe
corruption.
I wanted my building to go up quicker than yours, so little bit of envelope to my building inspector buddy, and there you go. That's corruption.
And again, that
And
is
that
where,
distorts the playing field.
and that's where the public is at most of the time. It's like, oh, it's corrupt. That's just the way the government is. So that's the way it's always going to be.
Yeah, but that's not. You don't have to live with that. You
One of
can
the
change
biggest challenges that I have in talking to a lot of people is getting them to even believe that world peace is possible.
Yeah, because they think it's too big of a mountain to climb. when really it's identify what is the fundamental problem. When you identify the fundamental problem, then you cut that out like you would cut out cancer. If you were a surgeon and you found the tumor, you cut it out. Now, if you cut it out, then the mountain gets a little smaller all of a sudden. And now what's the next problem? You have to identify the problem, and then you have to come with a solution and implement the solution, and then you'll see progress.
And the beginning of peace is first for people to believe in peace.
You have to believe, like you say, you gotta get rid of the word majorities and minorities and all that, and you work for a level playing field for everybody and have peace. Because we're not gonna have much of a world if we're fighting with each other, and part of that fighting is dividing ourselves into these supposedly unfactual classes of whatever they're classes of. We're all Americans.
What is one of the main sayings, quotes is out there when people protest, particularly African Americans? What do they say?
I think the first part was, what was it?
When African Americans out there protesting, what's one of the quotes that they use quite frequently?
Well, the big one lately, the lie has been hands up, don't shoot.
Well, no, that's for a specific case, but the no justice, no peace is what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
So why do they use that? No justice, no peace. Because they're speaking on their sense of the injustices and experiences of injustices. And they're saying, hey, if it's wrong for us, we don't want to right for you either. We want you to feel our hurt and pain. We want you to hear our agony. If this what we have to do is go and shut down the streets, or we need to stand out here in the rain, or whatever, march in thousands, whatever we need to do to get you to reflect and understand where we're coming from as best we can. But the problem is you can't transfer that pain. You can only vent that pain. And if other people are not sensitive to their real agony that's being suffered, and for the African American population have been suffered since the founding of the start of this country, not only the founding of the start of this country. So peace is something everybody needs. People understand that. No justice, no peace. Oh, no, then, we need to get order here. We're not going to let them disrupt our peace. Rather than the action being, they want us to feel the pain that we're inflicting on them. So we need to not be comfortable with this. We shouldn't be acting as if we have a right to be in peace when we're wronging these other fellow citizens. That would be the rational thinking and a rational way of digesting the venting of the individuals who are suffering as a result of the corruption that you're referring to. Because all corruption in this country is springing from the use of funds, misuse of funds. So if funds were properly used, then this population of citizens would not be complaining, because other people already care enough to say, we don't want ghettos and slums. We don't want a person miseducated and intergenerational forms of miseducation, so we can preserve the status quo to ensure that white people get the best jobs, live in the best neighborhoods, drive the best cars, have the biggest positions. So peace, again, is universal. Everyone can relate to the need of peace. We all need peace. We all want peace, whether we realize that or not. And peace is definitely in the best interest of everyone.
Well, we as people, let's say, just make it, everybody came up with an idea called affirmative action. We thought we were going to help the situation by getting the peace by affirmative action. That was going to level the playing field, right? But that's had an absolute opposite result.
If I may,
So,
the biggest problem with affirmative action, a lot of times with laws, is that a person go in and they say, we have a problem. There is unfairness going on. There is discrimination going on. So let's create affirmative action. So the starting point is correct. The morality of the introduction for a new law is correct. But when the law gets tweeted by persons you were identifying earlier, they corrupt the law. Affirmative action was never in the best interest of African Americans. Affirmative action actually ended up is by description, but by its content, it was to limit the number of African Americans who become like CPAs or whatever. So it was a way of controlling individuals into it rather than an equal law that would simply say, be sure that they get the quality education that's needed to qualify the jobs. Be sure that we have zero tolerance of racism in employment and housing and other places. But when you create a law that can control the number of individuals that qualify, and then there's tests and other things to qualify, and then you have racists who's in charge of that final process. So if it's just a verbal interview in order to become a psychologist, they simply say you didn't pass the verbal interview. So they let one or two trickle through to make it look like affirmative action is effective, when actually it's another way of controlling it. It's similar to the Voters' Rights Act.
Well, I think people were getting.
Let me say this to you guys. It's similar to the Voters' Rights Act. Isn't the Voters' Rights Act something that we know what we're told why historically it was placed there? But we're citizens, native born. That's a guaranteed right, the right to vote. Why would there still be a law on the books to say that some president actually sign and take away the right of African Americans to vote? I mean, what should have been done was just to enforce one thing. They are full-fledged Americans. They are also the all-American. Not just the white male with a certain look is the all-American, but every native-born citizen, regardless to any physical difference, is an all-American by being a native-born and also naturalized through the process of government. So affirmative action is similar to the Voters' Rights Act. The laws out of the hurt and pain, the laws made by politicians putting a Band-Aid solution on a problem, giving the appearance that now we've solved the problem, knowing that that is not even the real issue. We know fundamentally what the basics is, that people just want to be treated with respect, fairness, universal justice. It should be done. The incarceration rate of black men. We could go again and get lost in the spiraling, lengthy list of problems. But again, our focus is solutions. And we want these solutions to be the progress of all people involved in saying, hey, let's correct the problem.
We have to realize that any change worth making is not going to be done over a minute. It's going to take time, and it's going to take an intent to create policies that are going to at least get the train on the right track.
I mean, who created that?
What?
If the Congress could just, in a short period of time, decide that even a lot of nations already said slavery was wrong, and they just went on and approved the slave trade, who says that you can't just stop and say, hey, this is wrong, get rid of it? Why do we need to pretend that it's going to take 50 years from now? So African Americans keep waiting and waiting. Martin Luther King wrote the book, Why We Can't Wait, but keep waiting. And we're working on it. Slowly, it's going to take time. So continue to live the way you are, continue to be killed by police or whatever the circumstances are. And eventually, we're going to get around to solving this, but turn the other cheek. White America will never stand for that. They have never told the black man, we're going to wait on you to be right. They're like, you better not get out of line. You better not come and attack our suburb. You see what we do to you if you do.
Well, my point was more like take immigration. Trump says, well, if they're not here legally, they need to go back. And then the media, mainstream media, right away, well, what about the children? What about, oh, they send them back too. Well, you can't do that, you can't, and then they go, well, you can't deport, what are you gonna line them all up in buses? Where are you gonna get all the, it's like you had to do it right then and there. That hour, you need to round up 12 million people and send them out of here. Trump never said that. I'm saying you have to establish a policy that goes to many levels. We're not gonna allow these people in to start with. We're gonna start enforcing the laws. If we catch a guy breaking a crime that's not here legally, we need to send him back.
And I disagree with you completely.
Okay.
And I'm telling you why I disagree. We're talking about solutions here. The solution is not the illegal immigrant coming here. The solution is to reinforce laws that say you do not employ people that are illegally here.
And that's policy.
So if the whites who were employing all these illegal immigrants, depriving black people and other
It's
people of
enforcing the
jobs,
laws. That's what I'm
if
saying.
they enforce that and properly consequence them,
Sure.
why
That
we
can
need
be
the
done
immigrants be
overnight.
coming over here?
You can have E-Verify. It's already
Why
in
can't that be
place.
done overnight? I'm
Because
saying
the
that
political party that's against that doesn't want that done
There you
overnight
go.
because
That's
they
what I'm
want the
saying.
bodies.
And this is-
So you have to create a policy. I don't care whether you want votes or not. The hell with you progressives. This is the policy now. And we enforce E-Verify. That's it. And we start
that's
putting
saying,
the business owners in jail.
And I want to
And that's a
stress
policy.
that solutions are not, as you identify, parties. We have to be real about actuality. Nations are the same as parties. This is one world that we all live in.
But they don't want one world. They want to divide it.
Everybody wants peace. It needs peace. Whether they want it or not, they need it. Peace is best for everyone.
No, I
Quality
disagree.
living. Peace defines quality living, universal justice, fairness, kindness,
Rebel rousers
caring,
want
helping.
conflict so they can straighten it out.
That's the way we're really born. That's our really the nature of our being, is to be caring, loving, respectful, and so on and so forth. We've been duped to believe that it's not so. So more people believe in war than they do believe in peace. Why? Because we've experienced the violence. We know about the weapons that we have. And therefore, we're eager to embrace the threat. We see all the movies. We want to be the hero. We want to be the great one that defeats the other one.
So there's glory in being in war.
The glory of it. So we have to change those thoughts into correct thinking.
But that is
And
never
I'm
going to be
touching,
done
and I'm
overnight.
bringing that in to address this thing about immigration. As Americans, we should definitely be concerned about how other people are living in other countries. If there is pollution
Not there.
in the waters of Rio, if there's pollution in the waters of Rio,
Yeah, if you want to join the
We're
show, I'll give
living
you
to
another
the
number to
email.
call. And you can speak directly to them.
it's absolutely important for
So
people.
702-493-5222. 5222. Yep. Okay, thanks.
It's not just the Olympians who's going there in Rio, but we should be concerned as a world for anyone living in that area where there's contaminated water. The same thing in Mexico. If there are a lot of people in poverty and suffering in Mexico, America need to do everything they can to help have quality living in Mexico, so there's no need for people to say we need to flee to America for a better quality of life. We need to think universal. We need world peace everywhere. So it's changing it, again, the way we think, rather than perceiving other people as the enemy. I mean, I'd be very concerned if an alien busts through the atmosphere and immediately we turn every weapon we have to destroy the alien that may be coming in peace or may be coming to help us. But we may not even give that a thought. It's like, oh, that's an alien coming to attack us. So the immediate thing just react with war, react with fear. So these ways that we have been, whether it's programmed to think, whatever, it is not natural. And we learn that even by observing a baby. A baby's born vulnerable, totally dependent.
after 200 years of existence, there's a certain amount of the people that have been indoctrinated in a certain ideology, and that's what you're talking about. Those are the people that are going to be the hardest to get on your peace platform because they've been indoctrinated. Like you just said, war is victory, or, they're all been indoctrinated, a lot of them. Common sense has gone out the window. One of my solutions is have a course in school, grammar school on up, CES 101. Common Sense 101. Why can't it be taught? This person wants to talk to you, but they're not calling the right thing. Radio Tribune. Yeah, did you not call the number right? 702-493-5222. Yeah, 493-5222. Okay? Thanks. So I keep answering. Someone's trying to get a hold of us.
Okay, I commend you, Clark, for giving us the opportunity to actually start on the show here. A couple of weeks free.
You're on the air with Radio Tribune, and Warren is here.
Hi, Warren. This is Francis Town.
Hi, Francis. How are you?
Pretty good. Yourself?
I'm okay. I'm so glad you called in.
I'm glad I called in as well. How are you?
I'm okay.
That's good. So what are you guys talking about?
Well, the focus of this show is Clark's show, and this is the Heard, Heard, is offering people a chance to be heard on issues. It's a play on words. It's also the Heard, Heard, the people who want to be heard.
Okay.
And currently, we're speaking about a show that I have coming up starting Monday from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. on the name of the show is Solutions in Progress. And that's exactly what it is. It's about us applying real solutions to real problems. Not just talking about, not complaining, but really analyzing why the problem is, what we can do about the problem, and people engaging in it. So as we go forward with the show, beginning this coming Monday, again 7 p.m. to 11, we're going to be giving progress reports saying, hey, we took this on, this is where we're at with it. So go right ahead. What would you like to say?
Oh, well, first I want to know, what avenues can a person listen to your show on? Like, what's your online location?
You go to radiotribune.com.
Radiotribune.com.
Yeah, any search engine, through any computer. Google it, whatever, radiotribune.com. And a list of, things will come up there. And you just tick on Radio Tribune, click on number 2 if you can. You get to it a little quicker that way, just a trick. And you'll be a microphone you'll see come up. You click on that microphone and then you go to the Radio Tribune show and you click on play and you will hear what's ever being broadcast right then and there.
Okay.
And then if you want to call in, it's like you just did, you just call the phone number and you can join the show.
Okay, perfect.
And that's heard all over the world, actually, because it's on the internet, so it goes everywhere. And it sounds just as clear in France as it does here today, so.
Oh, okay.
That's why it's internet-based. That's the best way to go these days.
No.
Okay.
You're not
I got
limited.
it. I actually have it, and I see that you're also on Facebook too. That was something else that I wanted to.
Right down below that play button, there's a blue little thing there. It says archives or old shows and stuff like that. You can click on that, and icons will come up with old shows on them. And if you see a heading that you want to listen to, maybe this show will be titled something about the Solution Show with Warren and whatnot. And you click on that, and it'll replay the whole show. Whenever you do that, whenever you want, 3 in the morning, 5, whenever. You play it again if you want, or for the first time.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a pretty easy. Once you get the hang of it, it's real easy. And it's there all the time. So that's the whole point of it.
All right.
And we have to get it out there. When we're talking
Right.
about, we want it to be heard,
I understand. I totally understand. And I will ask this question: with the recent issues going on, typically all over the world, but definitely here in the United States. What are some of the things that are being discussed as far as the, I guess, gun violence in a whole? I do know that the main concern is the police and their particular involvement, but what about some of the other, scenarios involving the gun violence?
I'm gonna answer your question, but before I do, I just want to identify yourself, Francis.
Okay, this is Francis Town.
Right, and I've reached out to you, and I'll share with you that this new show, Solutions in Progress, is a show of opportunity for people to engage in applying solutions. Uh, so it's actually a bonding, transforming movement in actuality, applying effective, peaceful methods of achieving and advancing shared success through collective conformity to divine order, universal justice and fairness for a global reality of quality living of all compliant. Obviously, people who would not be compliant with universal justice, who insist on racism or whatever, they would not reap the benefit of what everyone else who is for fairness is about. That said, one of the main ways that we can address this issue of gun violence is cease to call it gun violence, cease to call it police brutality, uh, black on black crime. No, it's crime. It's wrong. When it's wrong, it's wrong. What we must do is educate and train people of how to use the management of anger or disagreement of conflict. So before you're in a situation, you've already determined in your mind, when I react, I'm gonna use peaceful methods. I have been in some ugly experiences, and I've had people all around me saying, you need to kill that person, you need to go off, you need to beat that person down. But I did not do that, even though I was wrong, and everyone knew I was wrong. And some thought I wasn't doing a manly thing. I chose to go with peace because I understand that the end of violence only leads to more violence. Imagine a world where all of us just stop believing in each other and all of us convince ourselves the only thing to do is use violence. We're going to exterminate ourselves. Peace is something we all need. We must train ourselves, we must will ourselves to choose peace among all things. Please have alternatives. Everyone has alternatives. What's the pepper spray? Stun guns. There's a lot of other things that they could use rather than using assault weapons or just guns that shoot and kill.
That's correct.
Excuses does not make it right, and law that approves those type of killings would never justify to make it right. So we all must agree on something very fundamental. What is our priority? What do we need the most? We all want peace of mind. We all do need peace. There's a formula for peace that we'll be discussing in Solutions in Progress. The basic elements of the formula of universal peace is justice, fairness, kindness, caring, love. The basic things we all understand and embrace, but often selfishly only want to distribute those things to the people that we care about.
Okay.
So once we make peace a universal movement, as long as we prioritize peace above all things, then we will have those type of alternative methods to everything to end the violence. And let me just throw one more thing at this, and that is, this is the one and only planet that we know that actually exists. Forget about science fiction.
Okay.
This is it. We don't even know what life is.
Exactly.
So in this one and only planet that sustains and gives life, That fact tells all of us we should be respecting and appreciating life. How dare we believe that we have some right cause to take a life away?
That's right,
So
that's right.
this should be a wake-up call for everyone, for us to bond and unify for peace in peace, to make the peace. And again, peace is quality living for everyone. We are one world. We are all people. We're all beings. We're all life forces. So therefore, we need to define ourselves the right way. Our true nature is not violence. We are born only in sin because when we were born, I think you shared this, you were born in this era, I was born in this era, all of us born in this era, where some people just doing the wrong thing. Some call it religiously, they call it sin. It's just not the right thing to do. But since we're born these experiences, doesn't mean that's our nature and we should continue that, or we should put greater faith to believe that we should live in a corrupt state of mind, live in corruption, doing corruption to try to get advantage over someone else, rather than say, hey, I will help Francis succeed. I will help Francis have work. I will help Francis have quality living.
Okay.
So does that answer your question on the gun violence?
It does, it does, it does.
I would throw another statement in there because I know that a lot of discussion is being spoken on Black Lives Matter. And some are saying, why don't they just say all lives matter? Some say Black lives using that label being divisive. And just for the record, Black people not being divisive when they say Black Lives Matter. It's very simple and plain. I think most people know exactly what's being said. Unfortunately, there is that difference. There are racist people, there's wrong people out there, whether racist or not. They choose to just kill people when they don't have to kill them, or incarcerate them, pass some wrong judgment on them. You know, a double standard of so-called justice. So when that statement is said, Black lives matter, because Black lives do matter. Yes, all lives matter. But a police officer's life is not more valuable than a Black life, and a white life is not more valuable than a Black life.
That's right. That's right.
So again, if all of us stop this game, and I'm saying all because I'm speaking to all people, if all of us stop playing the games and just be honest with ourselves and say, you know what, this man is making sense. We all do need peace. We all do want peace. So we need to get our act together and all start acting for quality living for all, because that is what creates the peace. Peace is not an accidental thing. It's deliberate action. It's deliberate choice. We will either create it or we will suffer the cost and effect of not creating it. The consequences of not making it be our reality.
Yeah.
So I invite you and all others, police officers, white, black, whoever you are, to come to the show. Again, it's starting next Monday. The time is 7 to 10 p.m. The name of the show is Solutions in Progress. It's about applying solutions that will create quality living for all, and ultimately that will produce world peace.
Well, Warren, I will say before we get off the line, I do appreciate you, and I do appreciate your answer. I think you're very wise, and I wish you all the success, and I am going to do what I can to come to your show soon. So, again, thank you for having me on, and you will hear from me again.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Francis.
Thank you.
Clark, will you be so kind to share the address and everything?
Sure, we're at 717 South 9th Street, Las Vegas. We're downtown, which is one little block, not even a block off of Charleston. That'd be East Charleston. We're close to the 15, so we're not, we're really centrally located. And our phone number, the call-in number for the radio show is 702-493-5222. The radio show itself is 702-426-5962. And you're welcome to call us anytime, check on our schedules, you can go online, radiotribune.com, check out our website there, and you could listen to shows on there, and you can bring up old shows and rewatch them on YouTube, it comes up on that website. So we're all about information, we're all about getting people heard, seeing what their solutions are, and any way that you want to give us input or whatever, please do so. Send us emails, call us up on the show, just call us, we don't care, we're not, what's the word, discriminatory here. We take all calls, all information and everything else, and all we do is put it together and see if we can make some sense out of what we can come up with for a solution. So with that, I'll let you close the show, Warren, and thank you.
We appreciate our caller, appreciate everyone else who listened to the show. And again, just urge you to be part of the show. You can participate, call and speak, be part of Applied Solution, be a peace hero. Thank you, Clark.